And let's see if anybody's out there. Yeah, C-Mac, Impetech, and
Okay.
Nightfall. Pops this out. Impetech.
It's not showing up yet on mine.
It just
Nightfall.
populated for me.
Oh, okay.
There's a network that never
I'm
stops.
closing it.
Let me refresh it. So give it a minute. I am still following you guys. Oh, there we go. So I think I'm the most casual of us here today.
That's scary.
Nope.
Yes.
Have you played the Wing? The new
I have
expansion?
not played them. No,
Oh,
but I
okay.
did play Brawl today. I have
Okay.
two and one today.
You are on level with me.
Oh, I have the commercial on the. So how do I pop? I need to pop out the chat again. How do I
Hit the little gear.
Yeah, let me find it. Hold on a second. So I close that. Where is the gear? Oh, there it is. Okay. Pop out. And then I can close the window, right?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, did I do it too fast? No. Okay, great. So just to get this right, because I screwed this up last time, am I going last or second?
Last.
Okay.
I'm doing Sun Raider Ferrix. Hey, you have enough time to play the expand. Oh, you don't have the right. You're doing
not gonna-
gold. Yeah,
I'm going to use
I was
gold.
going to do that, but anyway. All right.
How much is it? Is it the same price as the other one?
$20.
It's
$25?
$20.
20.
20.
Only
Oh,
20.
why so-
4 wings.
Oh, I'm almost tempted to just grab it. But
Well, you know what you could do? You could just buy the first wing and keep saving up gold.
That's sad.
every time I try to get out, they pull me back in. No, okay.
Of course.
Okay, so here's what
Oh,
I'm gonna
boy.
do. He's got 2 health left. I've got 4 minions on the board. I'm gonna play Mogre and try and go face.
Is this against
And
the
see-
computer?
Did you
Yeah.
make this deck? Oh,
No.
I'll be right
mean-
right back. Okay.
Oh, yeah, of course you will. It's coffee time.
Hat and he.
Yes,
Mogre works.
Espo is away, unfortunately. He remembered this morning at 6 a.m. that he is going to an art event with his school district at a art museum, and they had free food, so he couldn't pass that up. So he, it's like, I can't be there, and I want to be, but he had previous engagement there. To the art museum where he almost got kicked out for trying to take pictures of artwork that he wasn't supposed to take pictures of.
Yeah, that's our Espo.
No, Espo's not being replaced.
Hmm.
I did tell him, though, Emmy misses her Espo.
Okay,
Yeah.
back.
Hello, Ninja Boss.
Okay, I'm on the last battle for the wing. It's Temple something or other.
Temple escape from the temple or whatever.
Temple Escape.
Nice.
This is pretty
Is this correspond to any of the World of Warcraft stuff?
Yeah.
Not being
Sort of.
WoW.
It is. It's more of a. They wanted to. Well, we probably should save this for the show. How about that?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'm cool.
Yeah,
I'll places Espo. Ha!
No,
That's
no.
great.
Just tonight. I'm subbing.
Awaken X rocked heroic solo without net decking. Awesome.
Without nice.
See, the thing is,
I know.
the thing is
Go
that
ahead.
Espo said that he was going to finish all of it, including heroic, before the show. That's what he told me yesterday, and so I was feeling pressured to do that before he did, and then he doesn't show up.
Because he didn't get it done. He's like,
Yeah, that's probably
he's
what
actually
it is.
on now. Is he online right now? Is he playing
No,
right
he's
now?
not yet. He might
Oh
pop
boy.
in and say hi from his phone, but he will not be able to do much more. Wow, it's a good thing that we didn't ask Zoroshio to. Actually, it might have been kind of fun to have Zoroshio on the show at this point because he had a tooth pulled Tuesday and is on heavy pain medication.
Oh my goodness.
That would have been hilarious.
If not incoherent.
That would have been funny. Halfway through the show, he falls asleep. Face plants.
Yeah.
Dragon Rider. Thanks.
So I'll tell you what happened to me. The other day I played a little, and I haven't been playing in a while. And someone beat me with a charging core hound, which I was.
And
I
you're
was
like,
thinking to myself, should I talk?
how did that happen?
Yeah. Well, it was a core hound, and what was it? They were playing hunter, and then they did. I don't know. It was yeah. Well, I was level 21 or rank 21, and it was the first time I'd played during the month, and I was thinking maybe I should taunt up, but I was like, no, they can't reach me. I had like nine. I had exactly 9 health, and I thought, well, if they drop the worst they could do is drop a Savannah High Main, so I'll be safe because I'm going to win on the
Sure,
next
yeah.
turn. But then he drops the core hound, and then I started weeping silently.
Oh boy.
But
So Ari, are you done yet? We're ready.
This temple thing is really weird. It's pretty cool.
Well, I guess it's one
I
of the good things that
disturbed an
she's.
ancient statue.
So the question is, did you defeat the first two? Yes, you had
Yeah.
to have to get there.
Hmm.
So one try on both of them.
so is that the third challenge? Wait, is that the third one?
Yeah, she's on the third wing already, or not third wing, but third battle.
Wait, did you just start like 2 minutes ago? Like 5 minutes ago?
Hmm. Yeah.
It's easy.
Uh,
Rommels.
okay.
I have 6 turns to escape. I don't know what that means.
You just have to finish before you have
Finish
to.
what?
You have to survive until you only have
Okay.
till it expires.
The ceiling's collapsing. My minions died.
She's playing.
Just a second. I have 5 turns to escape. You can start the show and I'll just pretend
No,
to
no, no.
concentrate.
You finish. I just realized I'm gonna see if I can get the intro music for League of Explorers.
My allergies are kicking up, guys. So sorry about the blowing my nose.
Just
Aw,
mute.
that's too bad.
Not too bad, just a little.
My shredder dropped a novice engineer. No.
It could very well be the worst drop that you can get from
Mm-hmm.
Shredder. Well, except for that one, the Darnassus, the new one,
Aspirant?
the newer one. Yeah,
Darnassus
You get-
aspirin.
yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll talk about that today. How cutting back on the Hearthstone has affected my life.
That probably is a
No,
good topic.
just a
to let
brief
people know that
update.
it is possible to pull back for a little bit and
Yeah.
Yeah,
curb the.
You
Yeah,
turned
nothing-
into me.
nothing. like that. It causes more pain than it takes away. Yeah.
Now, don't forget when you're typing, I can hear every. You're a very fast typer, so we can hear
Yeah.
that.
I used to do a lot of temp work when I was in high school and college, and so I got up to about 105 words a minute.
Wow.
But now I've settled it around probably 60 or 70.
Wow. Yeah,
But
I was probably the max I ever hit was 60, and
yeah, well,
occasionally 65, but my error count went up.
I used to be I was a piano. Well, I am a piano player, so I think that helps.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I will tell you a 10-second funny story. I was doing a temp job, and my friend was doing it with me, and we were competing. And I was like flying away at the keyboard. Like we had to enter these credit card applications, and then I was totally trashing him, and everybody was like looking at me, and then my nose started bleeding from the effort.
Oh my.
So the manager had to tell me to slow down. I was about 19 at the time. I was kind of, I was all out. I was hardcore, data.
Yay! I beat it.
Cool.
That
Well,
was a really cool level.
The time I had to kind of typing situation is I worked for AT&T in the address change department. So we'd get the address, the cards come in and we have to change addresses and all that. And, it's not bad keeping up everything, but when we would get behind, our
man.
boss would come in and he would help catch us up. And he used to be an executive secretary. And we would have to just stand there with the cards in front of him just pulling cards because he's 110 words a minute.
Oh my goodness.
And he would just fly through what would take us 2 hours. We'd do it in like half an hour. And we're just like, okay, he caught us up. Thanks.
Then you go back on his coffee break or whatever.
Yeah. He was amazing. I couldn't believe how fast he could type. Are you done now?
I am.
Okay. Are you ready?
I already said that.
Just hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you were still looking down, so I didn't know if that meant you were done or not. So.
I am done.
Okay, then. Let's get this rolling. So
All right.
the goal is to actually have this one end closer to 8 o'clock than normal. Maybe we
whose
can
time
actually...
zone? Because it's
My
8
time.
o'clock in his time zone right now.
My time zone. Point being an hour.
2 hours.
An hour.
An hour. Okay.
I'd like to keep it down to an hour if possible.
Wow. Oh, you're really striving.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, we got Kraska here to keep us on track. That was a Just kidding.
We're gonna try to keep it under 3 hours. Is the actual goal. Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to finish by 2 p.m. on Friday,
Okay.
according to AwakenX. So, okay,
Okay.
here we go. I'm hitting the record button.
Are you serious that we only have 50 minutes?
But I mean, we go over 10 minutes. I'm just saying,
Okay.
The point is, I'm just saying, let's try and keep it from being an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Sure.
Let's keep
All
on.
right. Sounds
That's
good.
all.
I got my show notes open.
Okay, I'm hitting record. Moment of silence, please.
All right.
You're listening to Legend of the Innkeeper, the Hearthstone podcast for casual players.
Ah, you're new here. Pull up a chair by the hearth.
Welcome to Legend of the Innkeeper. I'm Vastidius.
I'm Arianwin.
And I am Kraska.
Welcome back, Kraska. Good to have
I know.
you.
Everybody's saying, well, where's Espo? Well, Espo forgot that he had an event with his art department at an art museum. And last minute, it's like, oh no, I forgot I won't be there. So, Kraska, thankfully helped out and covered for him again.
Actually, last
Well,
time
last
he
time
was
it was for
covering for
Ari.
me. Yeah,
Well, I meant Espo in general because he hadn't been here in how many weeks now?
2.
2.
This is the
Just
second.
seems like forever that we've
Yeah.
had everybody
It's
all
true.
back together at one point. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that's okay. We will forge ahead and take care of things as needs be because we had an exciting event today. The League of Explorers Adventure Pack launched today. What, you're saying? I haven't heard of this? Well, have you been paying attention to BlizzCon? Because last week was BlizzCon, and on Friday at BlizzCon they announced the League of Explorers, the Adventure Pack, and then they said it's launching next Thursday, and everybody gasped and said, "What? You never announce something the week before it launches for Hearthstone. That's insane." And I did hear
Yeah.
several interviews where some of the team was saying that we thought it'd be kind of interesting and different if we actually announced something and then launched it immediately. So that's what
Very
happened.
interesting. Mm-hmm.
It was pretty awesome when I heard that. I thought he was going to
Yeah.
say it. In fact, it's going to be right after this stream. And
That would have been
I was
even
expecting
crazier.
the next step. I was expecting the
Yeah.
next step, but I didn't.
Actually,
But this is
just
good
go pull up Hearthstone because it's out right now.
Oh, so now we're not happy with it being a week later. We're now wanting it immediately.
That's the problem
Just
when you
saying.
set high expectations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so that's the big cool thing. But let's start with where we're at this week. How did things go this week for you guys? And
I just want to say, I think it's pretty funny that now, whenever we start the show, everyone in chat is like, hit record, hit record. Making sure that you remember.
and your point.
I think
I've
it's,
only missed it twice.
my point is, it's great we have a community that's looking out for you.
At
Way
least
to
somebody
spin it.
is, right?
Way to spin it.
Yes, I hit record this time and I double checked.
All right, good.
Okay, so this week, let's start with Ari.
Okay. I flew back to Oregon and I've been pretty busy. Starting, new job and everything. So, yeah, my life is gonna be busier than usual. So, but I managed to play the expansion literally 5 minutes before the show, because I was out out of the house today, so I wasn't able to play it until right before the show.
Yeah, she quite literally started about 10 minutes before the show started and got through all 3 battles, the very first part of it, before the show started. So
Yeah.
that will let you know a little bit of a hint about this first wing, which we'll talk about in a minute in more detail.
Yeah.
So, but you did also do one other thing on Friday. You
Watched BlizzCon?
Yeah.
Theoretically, I watched BlizzCon. I still haven't finished, and do not tell me who won Heroes of the Storm because I still have to watch it.
Oh, I watched that.
Yeah. I know
It's
who
pretty
won
crazy.
Hearthstone, but I don't know for Heroes.
You know, one thing I have to say you should watch, and I was thinking this as I was watching it, is the costume contest.
Uh-huh.
It was actually pretty cool. There's amazing stuff
cool.
people did in that. It's a 2-hour block that you'll want to keep available, but if you have the virtual ticket, then you can go
Sure.
back and watch these things after the fact so you can catch up on a little different pieces. So
Mhm.
it was really cool. So,
Nice.
Kraska, how about you? How are things going in your moment of stepping back away from the game a little bit?
Well, pretty good. Pretty good overall. I'll give you the summary. About a month ago, it actually wasn't a conscious decision to stop playing Hearthstone so much, but more of trying to reprioritize things. I had some health issues within my family that I had to tend to, maybe change some priorities around. But so it just kind of crowded out my Hearthstone playing, I guess. But it's too hard to stay away for too long. The community here is too enjoyable, and I've become friends with all of you. So it's I was able to keep in touch. So I've actually been able to play a few games this week, and I played a little more this morning after getting the call to substitute. I thought, well, I guess I should play the brawl maybe in a couple games. And as I was telling you before the show, I got it. I'm ranked 21 because I hadn't played all month, and so when I started playing, I was playing this hunter, and I could tell he didn't have that many cards because he played like Razorfin Raptor and the things
All
like
the
that. And then
basic cards.
yeah, all the basic cards, and I was playing Handlock, and I was like, okay, this is great, and I was about to win on the next turn, and he had a Tundra Rhino out, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, I'm pretty safe, I can't, I'm out of range of anything that he could hit me with, and then he drops a Core Hound, a 9/5 Core Hound, and I had exactly 9 health, and so he won. And I think at the time, I think I even texted you. I said I just got beat by a Core Hound. So,
I too.
but it's good to be back. It was good to play. I probably played about 10 games this month, all this last week, and it was fun to see my friends. And despite being not active, it's nice to with the community. It's nice to just communicate with everybody. So it's nice to chat with everybody, and I'm looking forward to talking some cards today.
Yay!
Yeah, and that's exactly what our show's about. It's for people like you who, prioritize other things, but still really enjoy the game.
Yep,
Absolutely.
absolutely. That's it.
Mhm.
Well, I've been active as well. I've been watching lots of BlizzCon, trying to keep up with the news and all the things happening, trying to watch the finals and the championship. I wanted to watch the whole Hearthstone championship from the very beginning all the way through, because I did get to watch the first few games, so I want to watch every bit of it all the way through. And the unfortunate part is when you pull up the list of all the played games, they show you each of the games on the schedule, including who was playing. So you could see the final was against this person. And I'm like, oh, well, that kind of ruins the previous semifinals and the previous finals. So then I figured out who's made it all the way through. So I just ended up watching the last game and getting it over with at that point. But I may go back and watch the previous ones too, just to see what kind of battles went through. Some of those decks these guys have brought to the championships are amazing. They're decks that we've seen before in some cases, or some decks that we've seen most of it with a few tweaks here and there. So it was really neat to see these different decks, and amazing to watch these guys play those decks because they play them in ways I never would have. And some of the moves they make, it's just like, why did you? Oh, I see why you did that. I would never thought of it that way, and that's insane. That's why you're in the championship versus me not being in the championship. So, so yeah, I did that.
Awesome.
I've been playing a lot of different variety of things, and I'm not doing very good on the ladder this season. So I decided a few days ago to really start trying to push Warlock again and try and get my Golden Warlock done. So I broke out the Dragon Lock and been playing that, and actually been doing pretty good with it comparatively. And the cool thing is that I ended up I'm at 455 now at this point. So 45 away from Golden.
Wow, nice job.
So
You
I'm
can
a
do
push
it.
for that. I think I can do it if I don't get distracted by
Right,
adventure
shinies.
My
mag.
next episode, you can have it done.
I could, yeah, if I put my mind to it. So I'm trying. We'll see. I get 2 to 3, maybe 5. I can sometimes get 5 wins a day. So probably can't do it by next week, but maybe 2 weeks from now I can do it. Unless I push really hard and play a lot more. But it's been a lot of fun.
Work.
And
You don't have to worry about work or anything like that.
no, not at all. Why would it do that? So, okay, so news this week is obviously BlizzCon. They had huge event as usual, and lots of things got to be talked about. The tournament was there, finals of tournament, and also the announcement for the new adventure pack. I have to say honestly, I believe that a majority of the people there at BlizzCon and a majority of people watching the show were underwhelmed by the announcement.
Mm.
It just seemed that there wasn't like this incredible yelling or cheering when it came out. It was more like, oh, that's weird. The League of Explorers, where's Ice Crown Citadel, or where's Karazhan, or some of these other dungeons and all that? And they had explained that in the announcement that they decided that they wanted to go off of the dungeon mode and kind of get some of these cool ideas and things that they had been working on into the game at this point. And somebody had mentioned that one of the very neglected areas in the World of Warcraft is the League of Explorers, which is a little museum that's in Ironforge. And so they thought it'd be kind of cool to wrap around all these different ideas they had. The last battle you go through in this first wing is a
I
kind of
really
a
enjoyed that one.
that one's really neat. It's you're trying to escape the temple, and as you're trying to escape, it's an Indiana Jones type thing where you're running out of the
Question.
temple and you got stones and all these things falling apart around you and all that.
Are we talking about all of the wings now, or are we supposed to go through the
No,
news?
I'm talking about the news at the moment. The one
Okay.
thing I want to say about this part though was that they've actually worked on that type of an idea 2 to 3 years ago. And this is one of the first ideas they had when they were playing around with different things. And they decided at that point that this is a really good time to bring that into the game, some idea that's really different. So that's where that it came from. And that's what this whole expansion and adventure pack is about, is bringing in all different ideas and things that are things that just don't fit with some of the dungeon ideas. So it's interesting. It's going to be fun to play with. And we have 4 wings total to work with. And if you're interested, it's $20 this time. It's not 25 like the previous adventure packs because there's only 4 wings instead of 5. And we're going to talk about that in a little more detail here in a minute. But
Is it still 700 gold a wing?
I think so. I don't
Okay.
remember looking because I was busy
Buying.
buying. Yes. $20 I can swing $20 to do that. That's no problem. Plus
Yeah.
there's more cards in this adventure than there was in the previous adventures. There's 45 cards in this one. The previous Black Rock Mountain was 44. Or I'm sorry, it was 32. Excuse me. So the other bit of news that came out today, I mean, it's actually late breaking news here for us, was talking about, we've mentioned this site many times, a site called Hearth Arena, where you can go to heartharena.com. And so basically the site allows you to go through and it helps you make your arena picks. And if you go through this site, as you go through and enter in the cards that you have available to you as you're making your draft during arena, it'll give you a suggestion of what cards you should pick based on what cards you've already picked and what cards fit in the deck that you're trying to build. So it's a great way to kind of learn how to pick arena and how to do a little bit better in arena, maybe improve your arena scores. So they've been going through and creating additional pieces that allow you to have like an overlay on your screen to show you that's recently has come out to help you make your picks in game. And they're doing all these great things, but there's been a big, huge brouhaha that has happened on Reddit today where one of the participants in the site, ADWCTA, he's one of the 2 legendary players that has been part of this company or this website, posted a big, huge post about how he's leaving association with this because of disagreements on how they're getting paid based off this. And there's 3 people involved in this website. One of them is the programmer, and there's 2 players who are very good in the arena that are involved. And all 3 of them have been trying to work issues out and have basically come to a disagreement at this point of where they want to go forward. So one of them posted a real kind of a strange post on Reddit, and then the guy who runs Hearth Arena did his response. And there's just been basically a lot of confusion around the whole situation and different stories, of course, coming from both sides. And there's a lot of discussion going on about this. So you're going to hear about this in the next week. My opinion, at least for now, is a lot of people are saying you should boycott, not use Hearth Arena, you should back off on it. I would recommend at this point, don't. Keep using it for now. It's a great site. It's wonderfully helpful. Just keep abreast of what's going on and maybe just make your opinion after you hear both sides of the story and hear more of or what's going on. So it is a lot of drama going on right now. And so don't make an assumption right away, especially reading only one side of the story. Krasky, we talked about a little bit over chat today. You read now both sides. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. From the first person who posted was I don't even know. I have to look at it. the player.
Yeah, ADWCTA.
What he and it basically it seemed like he was asked to be kind of a consultant. Like, you know what, help me with my algorithm. for choosing the cards. It seems like the programmer kind of had the program pretty much set, except for the actual choice algorithm to choose the cards. It wasn't quite as good, so he found a good player to help him with that. And then once it starts, see, the problem is once it starts making money now, well, what is our agreement? And then started to get a little. He basically said he was a little upset with the way they tried to make the agreement. So I'm not the part that I'm not quite sure about is what the actual agreement was before this started happening, because it seems a little vague from both sides. It was almost to the effect of he was kind of helping him out without any kind of compensation agreement. But then once the site started making money, that's when it's kind of, well, I see you're making a lot of money, so let's make it a little fair for us. And now that's from a business standpoint. I guess I'm looking, for my own, that's a difficult situation to be in when one person is actually the owner already
Right.
and bring someone in as a consultant or someone without some type of agreement. And again, not taking sides because I don't think the full story has been explored. I think Hearth Arena is a great resource for people who like playing Arena. And until you hear that, I think you should still take advantage of it because it doesn't seem, I think it is more of a miscommunication than one person deliberately trying to deceive another. And hopefully, I think on both sides, I think they could come to some agreement because I think they both got a lot of benefit from it. The one player had his stream and I guess got a lot of new subscribers because of his
Right.
exposure, and of course financially or the business of the Hearth Arena seems to be doing fairly well. It seems like some of the numbers that were listed may have been exaggerated or some of those numbers might have been in question, but in any case, it seems to be a viable business. And for the programmer, as much work as he does maintaining everything, which I'm sure is a lot, and I'm not a technical person, I think it might behoove him to try to come up with some type of amiable either separation or amiable deal. Because if he ever wants to work with any other high-level players to help improve that, he's going to want to have a good reputation in terms of his working agreements.
Sure, absolutely. You're right. Well, and I think a lot of that comments that were made by ADWCTA was a little emotional on his side. That
Yeah,
he's in the middle of a frustrating situation on his side, and some of the things may have been taken a little bit further than he probably really would have said if he had really thought through a lot of the comments. But
yeah,
we'll see how it all shapes out. And the only concern I have for it really is that there's going to be some changes that need to be taking place in the algorithms now that there's some more cards available, because that's going to affect everything in the whole picking process. So the question is, can they make those changes appropriately to the application before, and then actually get a good results from it? Are we going to see the
yeah.
results of this be negative? And that was mentioned, I think, in some of the comments. So to be determined. We'll see, but I would recommend keep using it. It's an amazing tool. It does nothing else helps you think better as you're going through the process. So
Yes.
give it some time. I'm sure we'll know a little more in a week or two. Just let the tempers cool down a little bit and get where we are actually thinking about
Yeah.
things properly. And so,
Just as a final note on that, for you young folk, I notice there's a lot of younger people younger than me in the audience. Make sure you iron out your business deals before you start working too much on any projects.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's
and
all.
and they did have an agreement
Public service.
for their agreement was 20% of profits originally, but what's happened is that they've come back now and they realize, we put a lot more effort into this, at least they feel they have, and they
Right.
were looking to get a little more out of it, including they were asking for a percentage of the company to be part owners with it, and that's where things started going sour. So
Yeah.
anyways, well, good stuff, I guess, and let's go into today's brawl, or like yesterday's brawl.
Espo mode.
Espo mode. So what we have
Yay.
is a repeat-ish. It was Ragnaros versus Nefarian, which was the very first brawl we ever had. But this is version 2, because back then when the original one launched, they had some opinions that Nefarian was a little stronger than Ragnaros because he was able to get more running earlier than Ragnaros was able to do. So they were able to make a few tweaks and ended up basically one change they made was Nefarian starts with 4 mana instead of 5, which made it a lot more even, because I felt like I had no problem winning with Nefarian at all. and Ragnaros. I was able to play both sides, and I was able to do well both sides. I'd say I didn't feel like I did the first time they did this, where I was like, oh, I get Ragnaros, I'm dead. It was not that way at all. So pretty cool though. I had a great time with it. What? Any thoughts?
I haven't played it yet.
Okay, Kraska, you
I
played
really
it?
enjoyed it. I played a couple times. I played both times as Ragnaros. And I remember the first time around, I thought that Ragnaros was really difficult. But there were some newer cards, I think, or different cards in this time, and it was a lot of fun. I think partly I think because I haven't been playing so much, I haven't really been worrying about my meta decks and trying to rank up, so I could just kind of enjoy the game. Whereas I think before, when I was more serious about ranking up, I saw Brawl as just a distraction.
Cool. Okay,
It
then
was a
let's.
lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah, I was enjoying it. I'm still hoping to see that chest, the pirate chest, come out. I think actually I did hear they said it's going to be coming out. It was either next week or the following week that they're going to actually
I
have
don't
it.
think Kraska knows what the.
Yes, there's a captain's booty or something like that chest that they're going to be coming out with here in the next couple weeks that they kind of hinted to. And
Which I think it was like you every
Ah.
turn you draw a card and get to pick one of three or something.
yeah, it is going to
Oh, the
be.
Discover
It's a lot
mechanic?
like the
Basically.
Discover, basically. Yeah. At the time, though, we didn't
Okay.
know what Discover was. That was
Yeah.
a new piece that was introduced with League of Explorers. But
So
the
maybe that's why they didn't want to release it yet, because
That's
they
probably
wanted to
true.
announce Discover first.
Mm.
yes, make sure. Well, the I totally lost my train of thought.
Are we talking about Espo mode, or are we continuing on to the cards?
Pirate chest, I think you were mentioning.
Yeah, well, something like that.
All right. Shall we move
Anyway,
on?
let's move in to the League of Explorers.
All right. First wing.
Well, before we do that, let me just give a little background on what it is.
Okay.
The one thing that is interesting to know, it's four, like we said before, it's 4 wings. There's 45 new cards with 5 new legendaries in there. And what's happening is you're in the search for the Staff of Origination. And there's a character named Elise Starseeker who's leading the charge to find this artifact. And when you purchase the first wing, whether you're doing it with cash or in-game coins, you will get 2 cards straight out. These cards are just part of the purchase. And the first one is called the Explorer's Hat. It's a hunter card. It gives you 2 mana. It costs 2 mana, excuse me. It says give a minion +1/+1 and Death Rattle, add an Explorer's Hat to your hand. Which is pretty crazy because it just basically lives constantly. It never disappears. You keep getting it back in your hand. So it's kind of a cool card. And then the other one is Forgotten Torch. It's a mage card, 3 mana, deal 3 damage, shuffle a Roaring Torch into your deck that deals 6 damage. So basically, it sticks the cost, because this is a 3 card, it does 3 damage. The cost of playing this card is that you put a card in your deck that when it gets drawn, gives you another 3 damage, 6 damage you can use later in the game. So it's a kind of a cool combination. You get to use 3 now, but then later on you get to have another 6 damage that you'll be able to use for another 3 mana. So it's kind of an interesting concept. You may or may not ever see that Roaring Torch before the game's over. So as you go through these wings, they're going to be released 1 week after another. So there's one this week and then one the following week. They are taking a break during Thanksgiving week here in the U.S. So actually there will be a week pause and then the next 2 wings will come out, just so you know. So it's not 4 weeks in a row. It's 2 weeks, a week off, then 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of nice that they're appreciating their staff and giving them a time off. So
I agree.
So anyways, I am going to bring up the slideshow that we have had so wonderfully prepared by Ariaman. It looks awesome. And
Yes, it does.
There it is. So,
good job, Ari, on the slideshow.
Okay, so there's the Explorer's Hat. 2 cost. Give a minion +1/+1 and Death Rattle. Add Explorer's Hat to your hand. And then we have the Forgotten Torch, which is deal 3 damage. Shuffle a Roaring Torch into your deck that deals 6 damage. And then you have the Roaring Torch, which deals 6 damage for 3 cost. Then you
All right. Next card is the Jeweled Scarab. It's a neutral card. 2 cost, 1/1 beast. Battlecry, discover a 3 cost card.
Okay, so this is the first wing that you go into, and this is the wing that is out this week. When you're in search of this Staff of Origination, you're looking for 3 pieces. And as you go collecting these pieces, you end up assembling this staff. And they have a really cool screen when you're into the adventure where you get to go at the top of the screen. You'll see the staff, and you'll see your pieces as you add them and unlock each piece. The first one is the Temple of Ursus, Temple of Ursus. And Reno Jackson is the hero that's going to help you through this process of getting this piece. And on this, also with this expansion, there is there's a new board called the Excavation Board. And it has a bunch of new secrets and stuff on the board that nobody has figured out yet. So, considering it just came out today.
Yeah.
So this first card is the Jeweled Scarab. It is a 2 cost, like you said, 1/1 beast. Battle Cry, discover a 3 cost card. Discover is the new feature, I guess you would call it.
Mechanic. Yeah.
Mechanic, yes. So basically what this card does is it is just like tracking for a hunter, except the cards are not necessarily in your deck.
Right.
So it brings up 3 random cards that are of your class's choice and
Or neutral.
neutral. So, for example, you would play this card and you'd have 3 different options that come up that all are either, like if I'm playing mage, are all mage cards or neutral cards that you can choose from. And whatever one you choose, you get that card in your hand. And then you can use it on another turn.
All right.
So that's what this card does, is it brings up a 3 cost card that is either the class you're playing or a neutral that you can put down on the board later.
Cool. Okay, next card. Oh, goodness. How do you even say this one?
This should be interesting.
The
I think
Genie
Genie
of
of Zephyrs, I
Zephyrs?
think.
Genie?
Pretty
the
close.
D is silent? Is the D silent?
I always thought the D was silent, but that's just me.
You could call it the genie.
Okay, he's
The
the
genie.
The Genie.
The genie of Zephyrs.
Gangsta Genie. Okay, whenever he's a 5 cost 4/6. Whenever you cast a spell on another friendly minion, cast a copy of it on this one.
Yes.
Cool. So it's almost like the ooze, the echoing ooze, except not. Because whenever you cast a spell on another friendly minion, it casts a copy on this one. That one, when you cast something on it, it creates a copy of it at the end of the turn.
I could see that, but Ben Brode specifically said on this one that this really is kind of a cool card, because if you have this on the board and you cast Power Word Shield on this minion,
Yes.
you get to draw 2 cards.
Oh,
That was the example I was thinking.
Yep.
interesting.
It's kind of neat.
Because what it does is
They
it
basically
casts
double-
a copy of it on this one.
If you look at it from
Wow.
a value standpoint, it's like you're getting double. So Power Word Shield is 1 mana, so you're getting 2 mana's worth of value. And so
Yeah.
since this card is kind of underpowered on the stats, you really just need 1 casting of a spell to, I think, make it a decent card. So I kind of like it.
That's really cool. Yeah,
So
I like.
that's really cool because you get the benefits twice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty neat, amazing and pretty to see how this is going to be really changing things on the boards in the meta. This would be crazy.
Velen's
Okay.
Chosen. Could you imagine Velen's Chosen on this? This would be
Yeah.
pretty nasty. But you can never dress. This is definitely not a 5-drop. You definitely don't want to play this on turn 5, I think.
True. And it's probably
Or-
a subject of silence.
Yeah, you probably won't. Yeah, basically, you want to play it on the turn. You can actually play a spell as well.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing is he used that example saying when you use Power Word Shield on this minion, you draw twice. but the card text says whenever you cast a spell on another friendly minion.
Yeah,
So I wonder if you cast it on this one, does it actually hit this twice?
I think that's probably what he meant.
Well, we'll have to play with it and find out. So I don't know.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, the next one.
moving on.
Obsidian Destroyer. 7 cost, 7 attack, 7 health minion. It's a warrior minion. At the end of your turn, summon a 1/1 scarab with taunt.
I believe this one comes from the Warriors Challenge, and the way it looks to me is it's an upgraded Hogger. I mean, because you're getting 1/1
Yeah.
scarabs with taunt at the end of the turn. It's a
Yes.
Hogger with twisted stats, I guess you would say, because Hoggers taunts that come out are 2/2s, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With 2/2s with taunt, yeah. It's kind of
So-
like a war golem with a little bonus. So I think it's
With a
not as
soft-
good as Dr. Boom, but
Yeah.
because it's at the end of your turn, it's going to trigger at least once. So that's kind of nice.
So yeah, you're right. So if it stays out there, it could be a Dr. Boom over and over again, except it
True.
doesn't blow up on you. Yes,
Yeah.
Dr. Boom's still better, but yeah, it's an interesting card, interesting one.
Yeah, and the taunts make it more difficult to destroy it, so.
Yeah.
Not bad, I don't think.
No.
And especially since Warrior, they've been emphasizing taunt for them. So there's some cards that buff minions with taunt.
That's true. There are. I used it a few times so far when I've been playing this afternoon. So,
Yeah.
well, these are the first cards you see when you're going through the first battle. After you defeat the first battle, then the second battle you make it into what's called the treasure room, and in the treasure room you find the Rod of the Sun, which is being guarded by the Sun Raider Ferrex, and he is holding the rod. And basically, when whoever's holding this Rod of the Sun is immune to damage. And the interesting thing is it's a 0/5 cost object, and if you destroy it, then it switches to the opponent's board. So it goes into your board, and then suddenly you're immune from damage,
Yeah.
which is pretty neat little mechanic.
Mhm.
But then if he destroys it, which he typically does very quickly, it pops right back over to his hand, and then he's immune again until you destroy it and put it back in your hand. So it's a little battle just to keep it in front of you, not in front of your opponent. So once you defeat him, though, then you get these cards. So the first one we see is
Anubisath Sentinel. It's a
Very,
5
very
cost,
good.
4/4. Thank you. Death Rattle, give a random friendly minion plus 3/3.
very cool card. It's a 4/4, so it's got a little bit of staying power. But then once it dies, it gives a random minion 3/3. So it kind of helps you keep things moving along.
It kind of feels like the priest card,
Mhm.
the dark cultist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very similar.
But even
to that.
better.
Mhm.
A little better, even.
Yeah, because one,
this
it's
one's
a neutral.
neutral.
That's
Right.
key. It's a
Yeah.
neutral.
Yeah. Yep.
So now we can get some of that benefit spread around from just other than just priest.
Right.
And from a stats standpoint, it's very good. Obviously, it's susceptible to silence, but other than that, if when the effect goes off, it's really nice.
Yeah, the only bad thing is it has to die to get that benefit, but that's again the same thing that you have with the dark whatever.
Cultist.
Yeah, Dark
Thank
Cultist.
you.
Well, the 4/4 is solid. I think the 4/4 is solid enough that it's decent. I mean, it's,
Even
obviously if
without
it doesn't. Well, yeah, that it's going to do something for you before it dies, and then when it
Sure.
dies, whatever you have on the board. So I guess the main thing is to have other minions on the board. when-
Yes,
Yeah.
when
yes.
it dies.
And
Yeah.
it also is
And
less susceptible to the priest.
yeah, and
Yes.
with dark cultist, it's always better when you have it's pretty neat if you have 2 dark cultists on the board, because then
Right.
with either one that'll die, they will buff each other. So if you have 2 of
Yeah.
these on the board, and then if you're a priest, you could also have 2 dark cultists.
So
Yeah,
you're saying a dark cultist Anubisath Sentinel deck, maybe?
sure. Well, I don't think you need to make a deck around it. You just include them in.
That could be
Yeah.
rather interesting.
Yeah.
Make it a death
I
rattle
noticed
deck.
so far all of the cards kind of have a delayed gratification effect to it.
That's
Kind of
true.
like
Mhm.
it's like the whole discover mechanic. It's kind of like well, it's like a kind of in theme, which I kind of like. You're like exploring and you find something. It's like, oh, look at this.
Yeah. And then
Just my
the
observation.
hunter has feign death, so that works too. Trigger all those.
Ah, yes. Yep. That's true. You could do that. Ooh, feign death with this card would be
Here we
interesting.
go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, next card. Summoning Stone. 5 cost, 0/6 minion. Whenever you cast a spell, summon a random minion of the same cost.
And it's neutral.
Hmm.
So this looks
Interesting.
really interesting. Yeah, because it's if you cast, see, think about this. If you cast on your next turn, and this is still on the board, Pyroblast,
Hmm.
you get a minion, random minion with the same cost, which is 10.
Yep.
If you
Even though nobody
cast,
plays Pyroblast.
yeah, that's true. But if you cast
Fireball.
Fireball, yeah, that's a 6 cost. Well, that's only a 4 cost spell though. I was thinking of oh,
But
what's this?
still, you could get Shredder
It's
for
true.
on turn 4 for only spending 4 and fireballing something.
Well,
That's
you won't
better
get it on
value
turn
than the
4
Pyroblast.
because Summoning
Yeah,
Stone has to come out on 5.
true.
I don't know.
Never
This is
mind.
one of those cards where I think it's very difficult to get. It might be a little. Well, on the one hand, it's a 0/6, so your opponent might ignore it for a while,
True.
and so you might be able to get off 1 or 2 spells. And I think you just need to get. Well, if you look at it, you basically need to get a couple, 5 mana's worth of spells, maybe to 4 or 5 mana worth of spell to make it work. But I think if
Yeah.
you can pull it off a couple times, I think it'll be really cool. I think it's going to be a fun card.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't know how much
Mind
how
control.
much we'll see on ranked, but yeah,
Mind
yeah,
control.
there'll be a bunch of 12/12 Deathwings out. With,
Yeah.
Oh boy,
so
And
this is
you
gonna be
get to
fun to
mind
play
control
with.
something. So mind
I think it'll be
control
neat.
their Ragnaros and get a free Deathwing without destroying your hand or minions on the board.
Yeah, I think people are going to try to make it work. Um,
Oh, I
so we'll
know
Yeah.
they
see.
are. That's what's so much fun about it.
I believe this is a card that Espo will play.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely, and he will cackle as he does it.
Yeah. All right. Next
Okay.
card.
Now
Dark Peddler.
the next card is a Warlock card that comes from the Warlock
Class
challenge.
challenge.
Hmm.
Okay. It is a 2 cost 2/2 Warlock card. Dark Peddler. Battlecry. Discover a 1 cost card.
Okay. So the interesting thing about this is that it does bring a 1 cost card out, but it also brings out either a Warlock or a neutral card. And again, the Discover mechanic brings whatever class you're playing or a neutral, whatever that
Well,
is.
does it put it? I'm maybe I need clarification. Does it put it in your hand or does it play
Correct.
the card?
It puts it in your hand.
Okay,
So what happens is it comes up like the tracking, and it puts up
right.
3 cards, and you get to choose which one you want, and then once you choose it, it puts that in your hand. So
I like it.
it's really cool. 1 cost card, people go, well, that's not that great, but Warlock has a lot of pretty decent 1 cost cards that you could
Yeah.
take advantage of
Yes.
in this area. So, and there's a lot of
Yeah, flame imp.
neutrals. Flame Imp, yep.
I wonder
Um,
if you maybe, because of the discoverability, wouldn't put as many maybe you wouldn't put flame imps in your deck because there's a good chance that this card would put them in your hand for you.
well, there's a lot of neutrals you'd get too.
Yeah, I know, but it
I
would be
don't think I'd
interesting.
risk it.
I see what you mean.
Like,
Basically, you weight the deck a little bit higher on the mana curve because you don't need to worry about getting the 1 cost card that you would get from Dark Peddler.
right.
True.
I know is
It's
that
an
that way?
interesting idea.
I'm interpreting. Yeah. Well, I think this card definitely will add. I think the discover mechanic is neat because it will add a little random, more RNG, which is always fun. But in this case, but it's kind of guaranteed, almost guaranteed value because it's a battle cry, and and it also brings cards into your hand from outside of your deck, which is
Yes.
always good value.
Yeah, it definitely gives
Yeah.
you card advantage on that. Okay, and then after this, well, after you've finished with the battle, then you have the first piece. But what starts
First
happening
piece.
is this:
Wait, after you finish what battle?
the second battle, you have the
Second
first
battle
piece.
on the class challenge?
No,
In the wing.
on the wing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
after you finish the class, not the now you got me messed up. After you
It's like,
finish the second battle in this first wing, you have
uh-huh.
the second piece, and then suddenly the temple's falling apart, and you enter a new mission, and it doesn't have an enemy hero. What you have to do is you have to survive 10 rounds before the temple collapses. So you have to basically escape before this happens. If you survive, then you get the following cards out of that. So the first one is
We didn't do the shaman class challenge card.
there aren't any for this turn, this wing.
What? But it was on your
We're doing,
list.
No, it's
I think
not.
it's coming next.
It's a
I think it's
shaman
coming.
card. It's not out of the challenge.
Oh, okay. Rumbling Elemental. 4 cost, 2/6 minion. After you play a battle cry minion, deal 2 damage to a random enemy.
Yep, that's your shaman card. That's being introduced here. So,
Nice.
do you see a battle cry focused deck in the future of shamans?
Mm-hmm.
So this is
Probably.
this is kind of like a flame waker for the mage,
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
where you do 2 random damage throughout to the opposing enemies, but this one does 2 damage directly to a single enemy
I
for
like it.
4 cost.
He looks
After
like
you
a
play
big
battle
tough
cards.
guy. Made of
I
the
think it's
pillars
decent.
from the temple.
I think it will last a couple turns, so you get a chance to,
Yeah.
fire elemental on turn 6 would be nice.
I think one benefit that shaman will agree to or appreciate from this that there's no
Overload.
overload on
Yeah.
it. Like,
I
oh, good,
agree.
an elemental without overload on it.
Mm-hmm.
Good
So you're
stuff.
saying it makes lava shark worse. So it nerfs
No,
lava shark.
nothing nerfs larva shark.
I don't.
just because of the name. I'm just kidding.
Moving
Okay.
on.
Next one is a paladin card.
All right. This is a secret. 1 cost. Sacred Trial. When your opponent has at least 3 minions and plays another, destroy it.
This yeah,
It's hard
I'm-
to say.
it is hard to say.
It really depends what deck your opponent is playing.
The big question is:
Basically, for
Are
this to
you
trigger,
gonna
you have
put
to be
this?
losing.
Whoa.
Are you gonna put this in your mysterious challengers deck? I don't see that it replaces any of your mysterious challenger secrets.
What were you saying, Kraska?
Oh, I was just going to say, if this ever triggers, your opponent already has 3 minions on the board, and you're probably losing at that point.
That's
So
true.
it's kind of
Win less
not going to
cards.
give you. Except, but you never know. Maybe, yeah. There's a lot of good or a lot of decent paladin secrets, and you're right. I don't know if it replaces any of the other secrets all synergize with each other,
Mm-hmm.
and this one doesn't seem to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We'll see something. I'm sure somebody will come up with a crazy way to make this really viable, but it's gonna
Yeah,
take
that's
some
what you said with
experimentation.
Dragon Egg and
Yeah.
what is that druid one? Astral communication? Communion?
Yep.
Astral Communion.
Can't ever remember which one it was. You messed me up.
Now I do have to say
This
this
is
was
a
described, probably the best one described by Ben Brode. It says you're going down this tunnel and there's lasers shooting out of the walls as you're running through it, and yeah, so
and the
Awesome.
last guy running through gets shot by the laser.
exactly. You made it make it
That's great.
okay.
So
All
Then.
right.
you and Ari would run through, and then I would get shot, basically.
No, Espa would
No.
because you're the third one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's supposed to. Okay, I like it.
Okay.
Then I like it.
Okay.
You like it.
It's got Kraska's approval.
Okay, Ancient Shade. It's a 4 cost, 7/4 minion. Battle Cry, shuffle an Ancient Curse into your deck that deals 7 damage when drawn. To you, when drawn.
To you, yes. The keyword to you.
So this is basically an Iron Juggernaut, except it puts it in your own deck.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a bad salty dog.
Ah,
You get a 1 mana discount, but
for
it's
7
worse,
damage.
and 7
But
4
you
is not
might
good.
never draw that extra 7 damage.
Well, who cares?
How
Why
many
would you
people do you
want a
see playing
7/4
salty dog?
anyway?
Nobody's playing salty dog.
Yeah.
Uh,
And see, like, this has to compete with Shredder. Would you put this in your deck instead of Shredder?
You're right.
yeah.
It's got
No,
4
absolutely not.
attack. Their Shredder will destroy this, and then they'll get a free minion while you get 7 damage.
That's right. Good call. Good call.
Well, it seems too that a lot of these cards are leaning more towards the control side of things, and this just hurts it because you don't want to draw all your cards if you have this one. So,
Well,
Yeah.
one benefit maybe is if this pops out of some summon directly to the board type card.
like, well, it could be.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, I guess you, yeah,
That's the only thing,
somehow.
that's the only way I could see it being a benefit. But yeah, this is not a very good card in long term out.
Yeah,
So.
I
Okay,
agree.
so once you finish that, then the neat thing about this whole adventure mode is that the hero then ends up joining you after you finish that wing. And this wing's hero is Reno Jackson.
Awesome.
Ari?
All right,
Stats?
he's a legendary. 6 cost, 4/6 minion. Battle cry: if your deck contains no more than one of any card, fully heal your hero.
Pretty interesting card.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest things is that this would encourage a deck that has nothing but cards that you have one copy of a card, or very few that have multiple copies. Or if you are running a deck tracker and you know that you've used all the copies of your cards, then you could play this to fully heal your hero.
Wait, oh, in your deck, right?
Yes, your whole deck.
That is not likely at all.
Well, if you build
have
a
to have,
deck-
like 3 cards left.
But if you build a deck that only has one copy of every card,
Mm-hmm.
then you don't have to worry about it. You can play him anytime when you need him.
I guess so. If you are playing a deck like normal, and then you did play one copy, like even though you have 2 copies of every card, you played one of all. Maybe you only have 3 cards left. The chances are your health is probably pretty low, and this is when you'll want to heal up anyway.
Yep. I think it's really interesting, and we're going to see some really interesting decks, I think, come around because of this. Because there'll be people who put together a deck that has only one copy of every card.
Yeah.
And
I was trying to see if this would work in some type of like a mill deck, because
Yeah.
your opponent. I was thinking of that one druid card, Tree of Life, that heals everything,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
but heals both of you.
based. Right. Well, this one would be kind of better than that, and the whole idea being is that your opponent's, you're milling your opponent and you're getting milled yourself. But by the time you get to using this card, you know you're in a you would set up the situation so it would trigger,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and your opponent runs out of cards while you have full health. So even though you're both in fatigue, you'll be ahead of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's
And
very
maybe-
situational.
And then, like, I was thinking maybe have Molten Giants so that you can get low enough to play them and then use this guy to heal back up.
It's one way to take advantage of it. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be an interesting card to see what happens. Ben Brode even said on stage, it's going to be awesome to see what you guys do with this card. So
Yeah.
It kind of
Look-
looks
I
like
think
Ben
that's-
Brode if you were to shave his beard. Like that picture of him with his smile there. Imagine that's probably why he wants you to play it, because he's thinking. Sorry, I'm stretching here. I'm reaching here.
that's fun.
Well, I think that's probably one of their favorite parts is watching to see what happens with the cards that they created. You know,
See
it
how
would be
people
pretty
take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Let's pull this off here. Okay, and oops, wrong button. There we go. Back to the show. Okay, so there's some pretty cool cards in that expansion. Of course, once you finish that wing and you get all those done, then you can go out and do the class challenges, which we've talked about. And then you can take another stab at the wing by trying to do the heroic mode, which adds a difficulty factor, in my opinion, on some of these way off the chart. These are really hard at times with the heroic
Mhm.
challenging. But once you get an idea of what's happening, they're kind of, you can figure these out. To be honest and straightforward, I played it today. I beat every single wing, or every single battle. Um, the first time I played it on regular mode, I beat each challenge on with one time on regular mode. Well, there's only one mode, but and then I went through the heroics and was able to beat all the heroics. It took me a few times on each one, so but I was able to get through them fairly easily. Whereas when I was playing Naxxramas and Blackrock Mountain, those were a lot more difficult, I thought, at times. So actually,
To be fair, we also didn't have any cards and we're pretty new to playing Hearthstone.
true, yes. So it's a different situation, but I think these are a
I
little bit on
remember
the easier side. The first
I remember
ones.
BlackRock being pretty easy too.
Yeah, but of course, I think it's going to get more difficult as it goes along, like it has in the past.
Yeah.
Each wing got worse and worse.
Hmm. I agree.
Since I haven't played, how long did it take you to beat the regular mode? Since both of you both finished the first wing, would you say?
It took Ariel about
10
10 minutes.
Okay.
But yeah, I
Because it
think
was
again, you're picking if you pick the right deck to go against these things, you may find you're able to get through them. Here's a little hint, and maybe if you don't want a hint to get through these, just quit listening for 30 seconds. I think Freeze Mage does really well through these. Just saying.
I know Espo beat everything with Casino Mage.
That's what I no, I did that.
Um,
Espo
oh.
hadn't played yet.
Okay.
That was me. Yeah, I did
I also
everything
used
Casino
my
Mage.
casino. I used my Casino Mage as well. I feel like Mage is always pretty good at these type of things.
Yeah, Casino Mage was really easy to get through them. So do with that as you will.
Neat.
Okay, so now that you have seen the first few cards of this wing, what would you say is your favorite of those cards that you could possibly see using going down the road?
I would say either the Rumbling Elemental or Reno Jackson. I want to play with both of those. I'm looking forward to them.
Okay. I put down the Genie of Zephyrs because I think it's just kind of a cool idea of casting a spell on it and getting a copy. Casting a spell on a friendly minion, getting a copy on that one. I think it's a kind of a neat idea, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to play with that.
I agree. Genie of Zephyrs. I think it'd be the easiest card out of these to get the most value out of, looking at it from a value standpoint. But I also think Forgotten Torch would be add a little surprise to a like a Tempo Mage type deck. I think that'd
That's
be kind of
true.
neat too.
And then the other one, after we were going through those, I would have to say I really want to play with is the Summoning Stone. That just sounds like a lot of fun. But I really like random stuff. I've always really enjoyed random aspects. And I know there's a lot of people out there who do not like random aspects, but
Yes.
I am one that likes it, especially when it comes to a mage. So this type of thing, having spells to be able to cast and get a copy of a minion or having a minion summoned that is same cost, that's so cool. So I'm gonna have to put that
Yeah.
together, I think.
Yeah.
That one will
And-
be neat.
And Espo, he did put in his opinion before he realized he wasn't going to be here, and he said Reno Jackson. He said it makes you want to play an all legendary deck.
Hmm.
Ah,
That makes sense. All legendary deck with all single copies of cards. Yeah,
you know what? I
Yep.
was actually, if I could just put one last thought in about you. You mentioned the Summoning Stone. I'm looking at it now. I'm actually thinking it might be kind of neat because I don't know if anyone would want to necessarily use up a fireball to knock it out. Like, I don't know if you know what I mean. I think it'll last unless they have like a lot of minions out already, because I think people wouldn't want to use like one of their direct damage spells, specifically something like fireball, to take it out.
Yep. But at the same
That's all.
time, if you end up getting good cards out of it and they're starting to be overwhelmed, then they're going to be like, oh, I'm getting rid of that guy.
Right.
There may
But
be a
then the
point
damage
where
is not.
everybody says that's one of those cards that it hits the board, they kill it immediately,
Right.
depending on how
Well,
things.
I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah. So, do you think this first wing, any of these cards are going to upset the meta with being included in decks or even building decks around these things? I think there will be.
What card do you think would do that? Or you just in general? You mean?
I think in general it's going to be, but specifically, I think we're going to see a lot with the Summoning Stone. We're going to see a lot of Reno Jackson. He's going to pop his head in there.
Yeah,
think
now I
those-
see Summoning Stone. Yeah, I see that being stronger than I initially assessed it when I first looked at that card.
And I think maybe the Dark Peddler might be interesting in the long run to see what happens with some of the Warlock decks.
I think it definitely is it definitely is value. It gives value for its mana cost, but because it's only a one cost card that it gives you, I think it will be. I think it'll improve like a zoo deck, but not necessarily be earth shattering.
Well, what if it summoned a was the horse, the flaming
Oh.
horse?
Dreadsteed?
Yeah, the
The
Dreadsteed.
Dreadsteed.
I mean, that's a one cost Warlock card. It could summon one of those guys.
No, actually, that is a four. That's a four cost card.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Okay.
It's
No,
a 1/1. It's a
It's a
four
one-
four mana 1/1, isn't it?
It's a one cost. I could have sworn it was a one cost because
It's a one. I believe it's a four, unless they change the mana cost.
I'm
Well, in any case,
I have no idea.
Dreadsteed. It's a four cost. I'm an idiot. Don't worry about it.
well,
Never
I mean,
mind.
no, I definitely think it's a good card. I would definitely put it.
That would have
in
been
a-
fun if that came up all the time. So never mind. Yeah, it's four cost. Ah, shows you how much I'm playing my Warlock. Not enough.
That would make the
I need to
Dark
play it
Peddler
more.
happy.
Okay. Well, that's it for this first wing, and so we're gonna have lots to play with over the next week. We'll definitely have to see how things shape up with these new cards in the meta. It's gonna be really crazy, I
Fun.
think.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to the Discover ability. Mostly because I'm playing the Warlock Challenge as we speak, and it is really cool. Yeah, I got a Iron Juggernaut from it,
Ah,
and also an Alarmabot, which is good because I have a lot of minions in my hand.
I gotcha.
Anyway.
Ah.
Yeah, the Discover that whole mechanic is really good because of the fact that you get to choose what you want. It is kind of like the Druid idea is where you get to have three options and you get to choose a card that's going to fit your situation that you're in right then at that moment.
Yeah.
Is this card better for me now or is this card better for me now? And I played with that earlier today, and there were a couple times where I had a hard time deciding which one I was going to use. And there's a card that pops up and I'm like, oh, I really want that card, but it has a 9 cost to it, whereas I'm sitting at turn 4 and I could really use this card that has a 6 cost in just 2
Yeah.
turns. So it makes you really think those things through without making you got to make the right decision at times. So
Yeah.
I think the fact that it's bringing cards in from outside of your deck is huge, and
yeah.
because it's just a lot of fun because you don't know what you're going to get other than its mana cost. I think it's going to be a ton
Yeah.
of fun.
And that's something that physical card games can't really use that ability.
That's true, you're right. Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to pull cards you don't actually own.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think Hearthstone does a great job of. I was thinking about that. The difference between because it's a digital game. I mean, all these random effects. It'd be very difficult to simulate that with
Oh, yeah.
with a bunch of dice. Unless you have like five or 600 dice with you.
Well, that wraps that piece section up. We have a hints and tips for you that Espo actually was going to include. He said that if you feel the game is getting stale or boring for you, then do what Espo does. Create a theme deck and challenge your friends. For example, all cards with pictures of dudes with beards. And we've done that before in some of our Tuesday night games. Or a deck with only Battlecry cards. Or a deck with all cards that have random effects. Or, in this case, how we've been kind of talking, all cards with a new, once you have all the cards with a new effect of Discover or something like that. So it may be
Also,
kind of fun.
if you're playing with a friend, sometimes we have game rules like you can pick one minion that you can't attack. So I could pick Ragnaros and he couldn't kill it the entire game
I
unless it's by
believe it.
random effects. Or like you can't use your hero powers, or maybe you have to attack the minion on the left first. Things like that.
That's great ways to keep the fun going, interesting in
Hmm.
case you get bored or whatever. So, but it's a lot. But definitely, it has to be some way you have to play with your friends. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it besides it being a lot of fun, I think it'll actually improve your general gameplay because it's forcing you to restrict your choices so that when you have the full choice and when you're playing like a ranked game, you are going to be more astute and discerning about making those
Mhm.
choices. Maybe not. I guess maybe I'm reaching again, but I think.
It sounds good. That's great.
Yeah, it sounds like a good piece of advice.
Okay, and then tournaments. We did, of course, have BlizzCon Championship just happened, and if you don't want to know who won, then be quiet. Not be quiet, but
Cover
don't
your
listen.
ears.
Yeah, cover your ears. Okay, so Ostkaka won the tournament. He won the $100,000 tournament, so that was really
Nice.
cool. It was
Yeah.
really neat. Oh, wait, did you say you didn't want? Oh, you didn't want to know Heroes of the Storm. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was cool. It was a lot of fun to watch that. It was a lot of fun cheering them on. So
Hmm.
one of the fun things that we did in kind of last minute is I threw together a little bracket challenge for our patrons in our Facebook group, and we had about 12 or 13 people participate in it, and essentially we just threw together a bracket and everybody picked who they thought was going to go all the way to the championship, and the winner won a $20 Blizzard gift card. And I was able to send that off to this week and get it to our winner. And it was really cool.
Nice.
We had a lot of fun. It was just, it's a lot more fun when you have somebody to root for throughout that process. And the brackets tend to give you somebody to root for. So it was a lot of fun. If you want to support us, you're welcome to do that through the Patreon group, be a part of that when we have things like that to come up. It's patreon.com/Legend of the Innkeeper. And then finally, our reviews and emails. We had no reviews this week and no emails, and I think BlizzCon had a lot to do with that. Um, then we went to Twitter for a Twitter shout out, and Espo picked out one for us. He picked out Bleaker84, who said, Paladin is pretty cool, but for fun guaranteed, I made a deck I call Shub Boom. And he included a link to his deck, which was a pretty crazy deck. So,
Awesome.
and then our Facebook shout out, I want to really give a shout out to somebody who's actually in our chat room right now. Ramo, thanks so much for sharing your pictures from BlizzCon through our Facebook feed. It was so cool to see what was going on many levels, especially there in person. And he got pictures with pretty much everybody possible you could get with the Hearthstone team. And it was really cool to see all those different pictures that he was getting. And so we really appreciate you sharing that with us. It was almost like we were there. And Espo says, I'm jealous. But next year we're going to try and be there, and we get to join you guys all for that. Whoever was able to go, we really wanted to go, but it just didn't work out this year. But we're going to do our best to try and be there next year.
Awesome.
So that wraps us up. We actually did get really close to just wrapping this up in almost an hour, which is surprising.
Good
although
job.
I feel like we could keep going easily.
Yes, we could.
So, Kraska, what
Yes.
are you doing now? What's your focus now? I think I heard you have a new website that you're kind of tracking your progress moving along in your goals, right?
Yes. Well, I am trying to get into some type of physical shape. I used to be very
I'm in a
active.
physical shape.
Yeah, I used to. Well,
It's not
a
good,
better
but
one,
it
a
is.
better one than I currently am in. I guess I used to be very somewhat athletic. I used to do a lot of martial arts, and I'm realizing that as I'm running around trying to chase my kids around and I'm out of breath, I need to change that. So So I've been doing that. I started a new little website to keep me accountable, but I've kind of turned into a little hobby and project in and of itself, writing little tips and kind of self discoveries
Well,
along the
I
way.
get the feeling that you typically need some motivation, and that's a great way to do it, is to keep an online journal, so to speak, to keep things
Yes,
moving in the right direction.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, good
Especially
luck
as
with
a
that. Definitely.
thank you, and I
I
really
need to do
appreciate you
something.
guys. Yeah, I really enjoy being here. I just wanted to, if I can, just give a shout out to the Facebook group, as well as encourage any of the listeners who are not patrons to be patrons and join the Facebook group. It's a great community, and as you know, Vestidius and Arianwin are awesome, and I become very good friends with them, and I really enjoy being a part of the community.
Well, we really appreciate you being as part of that, because it is like you've been around here forever with us and have been some kind of just a part of the group. So we really appreciate your input and your expertise, because you do have a unique look at a lot of these details, especially when it gets down into the nitty gritty. And your articles were always awesome. And we know that you're taking a break, but at some point, hopefully you'll be able to put together a few more for us in the future. But
Absolutely.
we definitely enjoy that. And do want to shout out real quick, one more shout out, Dragon Rider. You know, her stream every week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's on twitch.tv/DragonRiderDK. Guess what? It's her birthday. And you know what that means.
Give
Tweet
her a
Ari
tweet.
on one and tell.
No, not me. No.
No, you need to
Uh,
tweet at Dragon Rider and
Okay.
let her know you wish her happy birthday. Do you remember
All
her
right.
Twitter? It's Dragon Rider DK.
Yeah. I can pull it up in 1 second.
Well, while she's doing that, I will say that also, if you want to email us, you can at info@legendoftheinnkeeper.com. You can visit the site at legendoftheinnkeeper.com, and you can see what we're doing on Twitter at LOTI Podcast. And if you do want to support us at Patreon, you can do patreon.com/Legend of the Innkeeper. And don't forget to rate us on iTunes and leave a great review. And her Twitter is at DAWNIEDK. So if you want to send her a
And
birthday
send her
greetings.
the tweets. Yes. Anyone who
Check
sends
out her
me a
stream.
birthday tweet, I will kill you. Just kidding.
In game, of course. In game. Well, anyways, that wraps us up for this week. Thanks again, Krask, for helping us out. Hopefully next week, Espo will be able to join us again, and we'll be looking at Wing number 2, which will launch that same day on Thursday. And if you want to join us in the chat room, you can do so at twitch.tv/LOTI podcast, where you can join in the chat and see it live on Thursdays at 7 p.m., or I should say 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time,
and 5 p.m. Pacific.
and 7 Central. So
And 8 Mountain. No, wait. 6
Nice.
Mountain.
4, 3, 7. We don't even know what time it is. Okay, start at 8 Eastern. If you can get that, you can figure out the rest. So
There you go. Maybe you can figure out.
maybe you can. So.
Yeah. Google it.
Well, again, thanks a lot, everybody, and we will chat with you guys next week.
Take care, everybody.
Good job, team.
Too late.
Yay.
Okay.
I felt low energy. I hope I didn't sound too.
No,
low
that's fine. No,
Don't
I think
apologize. You're great. You need to give me a donut.
I owe you a couple.
Yep.
Okay, so unfortunately, we will have to kind of scrub out from here at this point, because
Yep.
Ari Yaman is running off to another event, and I do need to do show production so that I can get it
Board
out.
Game night. Woo.
Nice. And I'm putting the kids to bed. So
Ooh, that's fun too.
that's always fun.
And I think I'm going to build some decks while I'm doing the editing, and use some of the new.
And I'm gonna earn some gold so I can play the first wing.
Nice.
So
Well, good
Sounds
stuff.
good. All right,
Great.
guys.
have a
Thanks
good night,
again,
everybody.
guys. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us in the chat room. There's a lot of you out there, and I really appreciate you guys being there. It helps.
Me too.
us.
It was good to see everybody.
The only problem is it's
Bye.
distracting for these two.
Well, it's like a little reunion. I haven't seen everybody.